In this video, we'll be taking a look at 5 name brand car stereo / multimedia head units with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto that do not have CD or DVD drives for under $599. Now the radios we'll be looking at are manufactured by Alpine, Kenwood, JVC, Pioneer, and Sony. So if you've been considering a good, solid radio and have not decided yet, then stick around for this video. Hey, my name is Josh, I'm with Breakers Stereo and Performance, and we will be looking at these 5 multimedia head units at or around that $599 mark. Now, we recently did a video for the top 4 radios under $300, but if you're looking for something with more features and better sound quality, then hang out with us as we break these down. The head units that we'll be taking a look at are Sony's XAV-AX7000, Pioneer's DMH-W4660NEX, Alpine's ILX-207, Kenwood's DMX9707S, and finally JVC's KW-M865BW. Now, some of these radios have features that are identical, some have features that are similar, and some have features that are unique to only that radio. First, we'll be listing out key features, focusing on any unique feature that that radio might have. And after that, we'll take you through our pros and cons list. Now, if you want to check out these radios individually, we'll leave a table of contents in the description below so you can jump directly to them. And as always, these radios are available on our website. Just click the links in the description below and that'll take you to each product page. We do have financing available. Just add to cart and pick a financing option at the checkout page. Okay, we have a lot to cover, so let's jump into it. Okay, so let's kick it off with Sony's XAV-AX7000. This is a 6.95 touchscreen monitor, wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but no wireless on this feature. Bluetooth for phone calls and music transfer, 10-band equalizer, and built-in crossovers. Sirius XM ready with the SXV-300V1 needed. Steering wheel control ready, separate steering wheel control adapter required, and a single backup camera input. 6-channel 5-volt pre-outs. So make note of this. This radio and the JVC are the only radios with the 5-volt feature. The rest have 4 volts. Now, if you're not familiar with the pre-out section on a stereo, this is important if you are running amplifiers, because that provides the signal from the radio to the amplifier. Now, the pre-out section on most standard radios are about 2 volts. Your better radios will give you high output between 4 and 5 volts. So the greater the voltage going to the amplifier, the better the amplifier will perform. Because when matching the amplifier to your radio signal, you will not have to turn up the gain as high to get the same output, thus reducing heat and distortion. Less heat equals less distortion, and less distortion equals better sounding music. So here are some unique features that the other radios we're looking at do not have. Okay, first off, this has a 3-year warranty included. All other radios come with only a 1-year warranty. True high powered with 45 watts RMS, so that's RMS and not peak, and 100 watts times 4 peak power. Now the other radios we're looking at will range between 14 to 22 watts RMS and 50 watts peak. Now Sony uses a unique D-class amplifier that they first developed in their DSX-GS80 to produce this type of power in a small space. And you can even run a subwoofer off of this thing. Now that's pretty impressive and something I have not seen in any car stereo head unit. Now I've been doing this for almost 30 years and have seen customers hook up subs directly to the power of the radio, but that is definitely not recommended. It's just simply not enough power to drive a sub or subwoofer. So Sony actually designed this radio to run not only a subwoofer, but a pair. So in order for you to do that, wire the subs to the rear speaker outputs. Or if you're doing a single sub, wire only to one of those rear outputs. Don't go and try to bridge it. Then go to the main menu and switch the subwoofer direct option and select the impedance low to either 4 or 2 ohms. Now, of course, we want to make sure that we match up the lowest power subwoofers that we can find to this radio and also use a ported enclosure to optimize output for bass. So keep that in mind if you do plan on running a sub or subwoofers to this radio. So I'm gonna list the next 3 features together because this radio is very popular amongst Harley Davidson owners that have bikes 2014 and up that have that double din opening. So first is the anti-glare feature. So the anti-glare capacitive touchscreen incorporates an optical filter placed over the LCD panel to prevent glare on the screen when it's exposed to sunlight. Now that is beneficial for everyone, especially for vehicles without window tint, but you can see why that this is a very important feature on a bike. Also, this radio has rubber sealed back buttons, making them weather resistant. And in an open environment, that's extremely important. And the last thing you want is water to seep in through those weak points, creating moisture issues. Now, I called Sony just to see how weather resistant this radio is, and here's what he said. Quote, "You probably have issues if you use a pressure washer directly on the radio, but if you get caught in a rainstorm, you should be fine." End quote. Okay, that sounds pretty good to me. And finally, the double-din L-shaped chassis design with the radio chassis at the top of the screen. That is the way that the factory Harley radios are designed, so certain radios like this one will slip in without any modification. Now, of course, you're gonna need a kit, but you won't need to move anything else around. And so far, no other major manufacturer makes radios like this with the double-din L design. So last unique feature here, mirror link through the USB for both Android and iPhone, giving you the ability to use certain apps, including YouTube. Now, a couple notes here though. One, true mirroring will be a little glitchy and will sometimes stop working once you update your phone with the newest firmware, until MirrorLink is able to make their software work with the updated firmware. Now, this has been an ongoing thing, so just be aware of that. And second, there are a lot of copyright restrictions on this software, so you won't be able to mirror apps like Netflix and Hulu and other streaming apps that have those restrictions. Okay, pros and cons, starting with the pros. 5-volt pre-out, anti-glare screen, weatherproof buttons, and high-powered 100 watts ×4 max. Pretty impressive. Okay, the cons. No wireless CarPlay or no wireless Android Auto. No HDMI input. Not a lot of visual thrills here when it comes to background screens, themes, or menus. No iDataLink MyShow capabilities, and only a single camera input. Next, Alpine's ILX-207. Now this radio has been in Alpine's lineup for several years, and for good reason. It's loaded with really good features, which include a 7-inch touch panel LCD screen, wired Apple CarPlay and wired Android Auto. Now make note, no wireless on this either. Bluetooth for phone calls and music, adjustable crossovers for front, rear, and subwoofer. This unit also has built-in time alignment, 16 watts ×4 RMS or 45 watts ×4 peak power. Sirius XM ready, steering wheel control ready. Now this radio is a double-din face with a single-din body on the bottom of the radio. 6-channel, 4-volt pre-out. iDataLink MyShow compatible, giving you the ability to transfer over vehicle information on the face of this radio. HDMI input. Now there's no smartphone mirroring on this radio, but you can simply do it with an HDMI adapter. Okay, this has a standard composite yellow cable video input, and this radio only has a single camera input for your backup camera. Now you can add the Alpine multi-camera adapter. The model number on that is the KCX-C250MC. And then this does have HD radio built in. Okay, now here are the unique features that this radio has that the other ones do not. Okay, 9-band parametric EQ versus a graphic EQ. Now the difference between a parametric EQ and a graphic EQ is it gives you the ability to choose the frequency you want to boost along with the width of that frequency, opposed to just a preset frequency with no control over the width. So not only does this have HDMI input, it also has HDMI output. So this is useful if you have a rear entertainment that has an HDMI input, so that everyone can watch the same thing at the same time. Now this radio has the ability to hook up to Alpine's TuneIt app for advanced sound tuning through the smartphone, but there's really no benefit here with this particular radio because this thing is loaded with great features as far as sound processing is concerned. Okay, pros and cons, starting with the pros. Okay, 9-band parametric EQ versus just a standard graphic EQ. HDMI input and output. Another thing great about this is it's visually pleasing on the home screen and also on the themes. And then excellent sound quality that Alpine is known for. Okay, cons. No wireless CarPlay or no wireless Android Auto. 4-volt pre-out instead of a 5-volt pre-out, and only a single camera input. Again, you can do the multi-camera input with the adapter, but of course there's some cost involved. In fact, it's $149 to be exact. Next, Pioneer's DMH-W4660NEX. Now this radio is packed with some really good features, which include Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, both wired, and wireless. Yes, wireless. So if you forget your cable or it gets lost or stolen or whatever it may be, you still will be able to use those features. Okay, other features include a 6.8-inch capacitive touchscreen monitor, 3 sets of 4-volt pre-outs, Bluetooth for hands-free calling and music transfer, 13-band graphic equalizer, built-in time alignment, and built-in crossovers adjustable for front, rear, and subwoofer. Okay, this radio is 14 watts times 4 RMS, 50 watts times 4 peak, Sirius XM ready, and also steering wheel control ready. Now this radio is a double DIN chassis with a shallow body, making it much easier for installation. Micro HDMI input, again a great feature if you want to mirror. Now note, use only a 1080p compatible cable. Some of the higher resolution cables like the 4K and the 8K cables will not work. Okay, it has a standard yellow composite video input that you can use for video or a secondary camera, iDynalink Maestro compatible, HD radio built in, and high-res audio. Okay, so here are some of the unique features for this radio. AV Car Assist. Now this gives you the ability to wirelessly hook up your smartphone and transfer things like web browsing and YouTube. But in order to set this up, you must download an app and go through a setup process that can take potentially about 15 to 20 minutes or so. Now I can say it's not very consistent. If you're interested in this feature, we've done a couple demonstrations in past videos, so we'll leave a link in the description below if you want to check it out. So this radio has built-in Amazon Alexa, so that's pretty cool, especially if you have a smart home. So you can set this thing up to your house and do things like open the garage door when you get there, and other things like set the temperature of the home by just talking to the radio. So that's really cool if you have a smart home, but if you don't, you can still do things like buy things off Amazon, ask the temperature outside, ask for a weather report, tune into a certain radio station, and even play certain music. Okay, and the last unique feature that this radio has is the 3-way network mode. Now, when running amplifiers, this gives you the ability to individually isolate your highs, your mids, and your subs, along with the crossover on the crossover points and on the level output. So if you want to be able to bandpass your mid-bass speakers, this will give you the ability to do it without any other processing equipment. Now, if you want to learn more about this, Pioneer Electronics has made a really good video explaining this in depth, so we'll leave a link in the description below so you can check it out. Okay, so that covers it for the Pioneer. Now let's move on to the pros and cons. Okay, pros: wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. HDMI input, shallow mount body making the installation easier, built-in Amazon Alexa, and the 3-way network mode. Okay, cons: limited camera inputs and a 4-volt pre-out instead of a 5-volt pre-out. Okay, next, JVC's XAV-AX7000BW. Now, JVC is a popular head unit choice among our employees here at Breaker Stereo, and for good reason. Their radios are very sleek in design and have a great overall feel when it comes to aesthetics and usability, and this radio is no different. Features include a 6.8-inch clear resistive touchscreen, 3 sets of 5-volt pre-outs. Now again, Sony is the only other radio to have that same feature. Bluetooth for both phone calls and music, 13-band equalizer, built-in time alignment, adjustable crossovers for the front, rear, and subwoofer. The power rating on this is 22 watts times 4 RMS or 50 watts times 4 peak power. Sirius XM ready, steering wheel control ready, video input with a 3.5mm wire included, video output through the yellow composite cable, iDynalink Maestro compatible, and high-res audio even on wireless. Here are the unique features this radio has, along with the Kenwood that we'll be taking a look at next. So if you don't know, JVC and Kenwood merged several years ago, and the radios in the same price range that have different brand logos share a lot of the same software and features. And in this case, a lot of the features are the same, and so are the unique features. So let's go over them. Multi-camera inputs. Okay, so this has true wireless mirroring for Android, and this is a great feature. Being able to mirror your phone without using a wire is great, especially if you're parked and you want to be able to stream your favorite video sources. And on this radio, you're actually able to control the phone from the face of the radio, which is pretty awesome. So you can have the phone completely away from you in your pocket or ladies in your purse, and you can still be able to mirror the phone on the radio and scroll around and select. I mean, it's a pretty awesome feature. Now, only if you have an Android, of course. Now, if you have an iPhone, you can mirror through the USB, but it's kind of a chore to set up. And once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. If you want to see how this is done, we'll leave a link in the description below, taking you to one of the videos in which we did a demonstration and a setup. Okay, pros and cons. Pros: wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. 5-volt pre-out versus the 4-volt pre-out. 4 camera inputs. Video cable input included. On the Kenwood, you do have to buy it separate. And of course, wireless mirroring for Android. Cons: okay, no HDMI input. And then I would say no wireless mirroring for iPhone, but that's not really JVC's fault. That's more of an Apple thing. Okay, on to our final radio, Kenwood's DMX9707S. Again, very similar to the JVC when it comes to features, but they definitely do not look the same. The JVC has the volume up and down buttons in the upper left-hand side of the radio, and the Kenwood has a row of buttons on the bottom of the radio. Okay, features include a 6.9-inch resistive touch panel screen, making it slightly larger than JVC's 6.8-inch screen. 3 sets of 4-volt pre-outs. Now remember, JVC has the 5-volt pre-out. Bluetooth for phone calls and music, 13-band equalizer, time alignment, adjustable crossovers for the front, rear, and sub. The power output is 22 watts times 4 RMS, 50 watts times 4 peak power. Sirius XM ready, steering wheel control ready, and this is a full double DIN chassis. Now this does have video input, but you do need to buy a separate AV adapter. Model number is CA-C3AV. Video output through the yellow composite cable. iDetalink Maestro compatible, and high-res audio even wirelessly. Same unique features as a JVC, but let's go over them for those who may have skipped ahead. Multi-camera inputs, in fact 4. Wireless mirroring for Android and iPhone mirroring through the USB. Okay, on to the pros and cons list. Pros: wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto. 4 camera inputs, and then wireless mirroring for Android. Cons: no HDMI input and the 4-volt pre-out instead of the 5-volt pre-out. Okay, so that wraps it up, and unlike our other comparison videos that we've done in the past, we're not going to be naming off the best radio at this particular price point because everyone has their own unique situation, different needs, and different tastes. So let's do this instead. Go ahead and type the one you like best in the comment section below, and if you have time, list out why. That way others can look at it from your perspective. If you enjoyed this video or found it to be useful in any way, go ahead and hit that like button. Also consider subscribing to our channel. We are consistently putting out videos like this, so you don't want to miss out. If you want more information on these radios, or if you'd like to purchase one of them, there are links in the description below that'll take you directly to each product page. Again, my name is Josh and I'm from Breaker Stereo and Performance. Thanks for watching. Okay, as far as my personal favorite, I like the JVC, and it barely edged out the Kenwood only because the 5-volt pre-out. I do love the mirroring, even though I don't have an Android. I think that's really, really cool feature. If it wasn't for wireless CarPlay, I would probably do the Alpine. I'm a huge Alpine fan. Again, this radio has been out for a couple years, so it doesn't have that wireless feature. So hopefully the new one will have it. I'm crossing my fingers that it will. As far as top sellers in our store and online, it definitely has to be the Kenwood DMX9707S. It's got tons of great features. You got the wireless CarPlay and the wireless Android Auto. You have wireless mirroring for Android. I mean, it's loaded with features. I just wish it had the 5-volt pre-out, but there is an Exelon piece that does have the 5-volt pre-out. So if you really, really want that piece and don't really like the JVC, the Exelon is a great option.